looks like it's working. Looks like it's working good. And we are live on a few different platforms. Welcome to all of you out there on YouTube. If you're just tuning in, myself, Tom Dimitrovich, David Williams, Tim McClintock, and Dean Hunter. We're going to be talking about our case study applications that we're going to be presenting at the Western Section meeting next week. What day are we presenting, guys? You remember?
Wednesday.
We're on Wednesday, and I believe it's afternoon?
Yes.
Wednesday afternoon, case studies, 2 hours of case studies. So, and we have 3 different real presentations because, right, David and Dean, you guys are going to go together and present on. Why don't you talk a little bit about your presentation?
Okay. Sure. Our discussion, we're going to be talking about, there's a lot of changes for the 2020 code, and there's some that brought up some enforcement issues that we'll touch on, and it should be a good, lively discussion for the time that we have.
Awesome.
Dean?
No, I just would like to say also that as it's interesting because Dave and I were talking about some of the issues as we were putting this together, and it's amazing just to hear the differences between the AHJs and how we think about some of these changes as we look ahead. So I too am excited to present with David, and hopefully we'll have some real good discussion points around some of these problematic areas, potential problematic areas.
So both.
Yeah, we were discussing a few of them, and as we kept going, it says, "Wow, we just filled up most of the time span just talking back and forth about them." So it should be pretty easy for us to fill in our time slot.
Are you going to give Tim and I any time to talk?
Yeah,
probably very little. They're very little.
Just a little.
Well, it depends on how much money keeps coming in. It may get we go.
We may end up just being the comic relief.
Well, you know what I always say, I got the looks, you guys got the brains. So
yeah.
Right. So Dean and David, many people might not know who you are, but both of you are electrical inspectors, chief electrical inspectors. Is that your title?
I'm just an electrical inspector.
Electrical inspector. Dean?
Chief electrical.
Chief electrical. Yeah. And where are you out of, Dean? Where are you out of, Dean?
St. Paul.
St. Paul, Minnesota.
Yes.
Awesome.
Yes.
David.
Minnesota, sorry. Yeah, I guess we could open up with a little bit of background as to kind of what our state of Minnesota, obviously. I know we're currently going through the 2020 code adoption, but the way we kind of structure things in the state of Minnesota is there are 14 people that are in the office or take care of our field inspectors that are out in the field. We currently have about 70 in the field, and roughly we average, well, in fact, I just checked the other day, we have 162,000 electrical inspections that we did last year.
Wow.
On behalf of the department. So we do a lot of inspections, and so I have a great team, obviously, that I'm working with, and with code interpretation. Obviously, it's a big part of who we are. Fortunately, I'm going to say, as opposed to other jurisdictions, I know that there's a lot of combination inspectors out there and such, and we've been real fortunate in the state of Minnesota to just be exclusive electrical inspectors, and I think that makes a big difference too in the way that we apply and interpret the code. So
that's pretty cool. David, so you're out of Michigan, right?
Yeah, I'm in Lansing, going from one capital to another capital. I've been electrical inspector for, I had 6 years at the state, and I've been at Delta for about 25. So a lot of years of inspecting and a lot of years in the trade as well. Michigan is similar to Minnesota, where everything is all done by licensed electricians that do the electrical inspections. You have to have a license in order to do any inspections. So
yeah. So you guys are going
in most parts of the state, which the country, that where a lot of people are going to multi-hat inspectors.
Yeah, so you guys are going to bring the inspector's perspective, if I can say that right, to some of these code requirements, because as design engineers and others, we look at the National Electrical Code with different eyes, so to speak. But you're down, boots on the street, looking at the actual installations and comparing it to this latest requirements, which I think that can be challenging sometimes, just trying to interpret the NEC and enforce it, right?
For sure, especially with some of the actions that come out of some panels.
Not two. So that brings up another good point. What panel are you on, Dave?
I'm serving on panel 10.
Panel 10. Dean?
Panel 7.
Panel 7, and I'm on panel 2 and 10. Tim, are you on a panel yet? I mean, well, you not yet, right? So you've had a history.
Yeah. Actually, previously I was on code making panel 12 for 2 code cycles, and then having started with NEMA a year ago, prior to that, I worked for 8 years with the NFPA.
Yeah.
And as an NFPA employee, I obviously can't serve on a technical committee, so it stepped down at that point. But my hope is sometime in the future to get back to the table and participate in that process again as a panel member.
Yeah. And it's interesting. It's important that even if someone is not on a code panel, the most important part of the whole process is getting the public inputs in and getting good substantiations. And everybody plays a key role in that out there. So,
yep.
Every inspector who inspects an installation, like what you guys are going to go through, Dave and Dean, bringing, I guess, a level of practicality to the code to say, look, it's always fun and games to sit down and look at a book and look at the language. And then when you actually have to try to say, what does it mean? And then how do I look at something and make sure that I'm meeting that requirement? That's difficult. It'll be a challenge.
It's challenging.
Typically these installations deal with a lot of money, you know what I mean? And so when you're talking about developers and large buildings and things like that, when you have, potential code issues that can be very costly, of course, it's a difficult place to put yourself in as a team. And you always want to have the good information, or the best information, I guess, that's available. And a lot of times, like Dave alluded to, we look to a lot of what's been in the first draft and the second draft, information that's posted so that we can make good decisions, and we just do the best we can.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, that has to be, like you say, a pretty political situation when you have a very large installation and you go put that reg tag on there and say you can't occupy that structure until you fix these issues.
That's right. No, and I think in a lot of cases too, like Dave and I were talking about it, it seems like we're the only states that, it's the only place, I should say, that the installer has ever heard that they've called it this certain way. You know what I mean? So so you have to make sure that you're playing ball, you know what I mean? And because you hear a lot of that where they can go to other states or other parts of the country and they basically don't look at the NEC at all, or, you just never know. Of course, people are always talking about or trying to get out of something or whatever, you know what I mean? Yep. So it's an interesting place to be in. So,
yeah. And so, Dean, you raised a really good point there, and takes me back to my days when I was an AHJ myself, and many times you can call their bluff. Mm-hmm. And, that's the advantage of being a member of the IAEI, is the networking that you get to do across the country. So the next time somebody says, well, I didn't have to do that in Michigan, you can say, well, I know the inspector over in Michigan. I'll give Dave Williams a call. Usually when you do that, they're like, well, maybe it wasn't Michigan. Maybe it was Ohio. Well, I know an inspector in Ohio. So
yeah.
That's right. And you used to be an inspector in Ohio, right, Tim?
Yeah. For 16 years. So.
16 years.
Yeah.
In Worcester.
Yeah.
Did I say it right?
Yeah, you said it right. Worcester, Ohio. Well, I was actually in the county, but the county seat is Worcester, and that's where my office was located.
Yep. And so Dean and David are going to focus their presentation on enforcement of the National Electrical Code in practical examples, right?
Mostly the changes from the 2020 code.
Focusing on the changes in that. Yeah, that's a good point. Tim, what's your topic?
Yeah, and ultimately, thanks, Tom. Again, I'm Tim McClintock. I'm the Midwest field rep for NEMA, And my area covers a 17 state region in the Midwest, lines up with the Western Section IAI. And the program that I'm going to present is on AFCIs. And basically, what I'm going to do is kind of provide a little bit of history. Not going to spend a lot of time there, but I think it's important to kind of understand the roots of all of this. Going to talk about how circuit protection has progressed in an over 120-year history of the NEC, and then going to speak a little bit about the different methods that you can employ to meet AFCI protection. And then, finally, I think we'll look at some case studies where, ultimately where an AFCI did in fact prevent a fire. And that's always probably one of the most difficult things to prove is, how do you prove the fire that never started? And so there are some cases out there that we're going to look at that ultimately will illustrate, based on this particular scenario, had we not had AFCI protection, there was the very strong possibility that there would have been a fire and potential, fatalities as a result.
That's the tough thing is you can't say there definitely would have been anything because you prevented it from happening. That's like an airbag in a car and saying that airbag, if you didn't have it, you would have died. Well, not real. I don't know. You don't know. And you know what? I don't want to find out. Right.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah. So, and there's a good case, and I think it is part of that NEMA presentation. And I have a 4 or 5 part series of videos with a homeowner in South Carolina who had an arcing fault in the home run circuit going up to the bedroom. They lived with resetting the breakers for months, and he was going to sell the house. And he finally said, I'm going to get an electrician in here to fix this. And we talk about his journey and what they found, and it was absolutely astonishing, the problems.
Well, it was a gusset plate, wasn't it?
They drilled
a steel gusset plate.
They drilled through a gusset plate, but what was the kicker was the electrician said he went upstairs because when they figured it was the home run, he went upstairs to see where the conductor came up from the basement and went down to the basement from the light switch. And he says he saw where it was all stripped and he tried to fix it. But he said as soon as he went up in the attic way, he smelled gas. There was a gas leak in the attic because the gas line was up there. The furnace, I guess, was an attic mounted type of piece of equipment. And they had a gas leak in the attic. So near where this arcing was occurring. And I tell you what, the homeowner
could have had an explosion.
He could have had it's exactly right. If that would have festered and gone any further, it could have been a lot worse for that house. The homeowner was so elated that he found the problem. He had called us because they were having a hard time trying to troubleshoot it. And we gave him some tips and talked to his contractor and whatnot. And I tell you what, those types of stories, I enjoy being able to say, look, we always talk about how many people were killed, how many arc flash explosions, how many houses burned down, and all of those statistics. Rarely do we talk about the successes of what we do in from a codes and standards perspective or from a product perspective, So you like to think you're making a difference. And that's part of mine is I've got an arc flash case study. We employed an arc flash reduction technology in an industrial facility. It's a chemical facility, and they would have had an explosion. There was electrical work being performed, and I'm going to talk about what work was being performed, the 70E steps that they took to help mitigate or reduce the likelihood of something happening. They took all the right steps, but just as anything, nobody plans to make mistakes, and a mistake was made. And we're going to talk about the success story of an arc reduction technology that saved some lives that day. So hopefully between the 3 presentations, we should be able to provide some levity and some real world examples and practice for those who attend.
Should be good.
Yeah. I mean, is there any
Looking forward to
reason?
it.
Is there any reason for anybody to visit and watch any other presentation other than our 2-hour session?
Just
I think they're all
what the
valuable.
other side looks like.
Absolutely. I was wondering what you guys were going to say.
Of course, stop here first.
Stop here first. Absolutely. Yeah. So we have a really good lineup next week. And I don't know if you guys are aware, we're doing the digital R&R Ranch in the evening. And we're going to have Larry Ayer on Monday night, Coeur d'Alene Committee Chair, talking about future of the NEC and a bunch of the work that's been going on for the 2023 cycle. I think, David, you're going to be talking maybe Thursday night, talking about the style manual, some of the style manual changes. And you and I, Dean, we worked on a task group together on Code Making Panel 7 stuff, but Article 555 and whatnot. So we did a lot of work in that area. So, maybe we'll touch on that in the evenings as well.
Yeah.
So, and then we have virtual vendor booths in the afternoon, 12:30 to 1:30. So, and we're selling those, and hopefully, I know Schneider Electric signed up already. I believe Eaton's right around the corner, and we're still trying to get other vendors involved in talking about what they do and the latest products on the market. And we'll put those out on our YouTube channel. So what do you guys think? We ready for next week?
Yeah, who's the other 2 nights for the R&R?
So far, we're going to have Donnie Cook is going. I'm not sure which night Donnie Cook is going to go on. Okay. We've got you're talking about the style manual. I've reached out to Robert Osborne. I haven't heard back from him because medium voltage is going to get a lot of love, I think, this cycle. And I might try to reach out to some of my alternative energy task group members as well to see if I can't get a few of our, Bill Brooks or somebody. Bill's doing a presentation one of the weeks. But the challenge with like a guy like Bill who's out on the West Coast, and I was reminded of this with Christine. I asked Christine Porter, and she's like, well, at 6 o'clock your time is only 3 o'clock my time, and that's before 5 o'clock my time, which is I got work to do. So we're doing it from 6 to 8 in the evening Eastern time. So, and I know all the guys in the Western section just look at me crazy. I don't know, Tim, you're in the Eastern time zone, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So,
Me too.
Oh, that's right, David, you are too. So, but everybody yells at me for talking Eastern time, because they're all like an hour behind me or 2 hours behind me. I don't know.
3.
Or 3. Yeah, that's exactly right. So those are the ones I've reached out to so far. It might just be everybody watching me and Steve Froming drinking some beer or something. I don't know.
I was hoping that it was okay if I'm going to the R&R Ranch and doing a program. I should be able to have a cold beverage with me.
You should. Yeah. Hey.
It will make the discussion go a little more fluid.
But what's going to be missing though is the fried cheese curds.
That's right.
And the white fish and all the other.
To get that cholesterol up.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Steve Froming's online watching out on YouTube. So he says, hey, see if there's anybody else out here. We just, this was not announced, so hopefully not too many people are watching us test the system out. But it seems to work pretty good. When you guys go live, I'll just run through it again. When you two are doing your presentation, I'm going to throw up real quick. Not throw up real quick, but I'm going to throw up a PowerPoint real quick. And when you guys do your presentation, it'll look something like that. And I've got to fix this. I've got to put the white thing on the bottom. Where's it at? There it is. I got to get rid of that. So when you do your presentation, we'll be doing that. And then when Tim does his presentation, I think Tim is number 3. We'll do it that way. When I do mine, it'll be this way. I got to fix mine a little bit. And look, everybody should be live right now. And that will be our program. All right. So remember, everybody out there on Facebook or and LinkedIn or not, yeah, Facebook, LinkedIn, and the 2 YouTube sites that we're streaming to. On YouTube, I will put the links for registration down below. I didn't have a chance to do that. We were talking, and I didn't prepare. I just got off another meeting. So I'll put the links down below to register for the entire week, and the links to register just for this session if you want to talk about or listen to just the case studies. 2 CEU credits, 2 hours worth of CEU credits for this session alone. And if you sign up for the whole week, it's 18 CEU credits. IAEI members, $100 for the entire week. Non-IAEI members, $200. And that is a reason enough to just spend that extra $100 and get a year's worth of subscription. I think a year's subscription for IAEI is like 106 or something like that.
120.
120. So an extra $20 gets you the magazines, which pretty much I think it's every month we come out with an IAEI news magazine, which is packed with a lot of great information. And you're looking at some of the authors of articles in those magazines as well. There it is. Thank you, Dean. See that? He's got it ready. Mine's behind the green screen behind me, so sorry. But yeah, so you get the magazines. You get I think you get a discount on educational materials for IAEI. I know you'll get a discount for what we do in the Western section. So it pays to, if you're not an IAEI member and you want those 18 CEU credits for $100, take that extra $100 and kick in $20 and get your subscription to the IAEI and experience that membership, which you will find very valuable. So,
and then next year when we're in Wisconsin or Michigan for the 2021 Western section, you really get to see what the real Western section is all about.
That is exactly right. They'll be able to be there because if you think about the lineup, we got Chad Kennedy from Schneider, we've got Tom Lichtenstein from UL. The members and characters that you have on this screen, we got Christine Porter from Intertech. We got Intertech represented. We got Bill Brooks. So if you just think about, I mean, that's just this live session, this session online. But when you're in person, not only do you have those people who are presenting, but in the audience are how many different code making panels represented, right? You've got a lot of members from IAEI, from NFPA code making panels who are IAEI representatives and industry. You've got contractors, design engineers, utilities show up, and it's a great conversation. And it's a way, to your point, Tim, to build relationships.
Yeah, quite often during a code cycle, we'll have about 30 members in the audience that participate on those various code panels. So
yeah,
it's a good time to network and bend their ear a little bit as well.
Absolutely. You get those business cards, you fill out your little book with names, and then when you come across something and you go, boy, I've never seen this before, you pick up the phone or you send an email and you say, hey, we met at the Western section meeting. I got a quick question for you. Can you answer that? And you know what? We're in an industry where people love to share. So that's how I know I built all of my relationships. That's how I met Tim. I think, Tim, you and I met at the Ohio adoption meeting, didn't we?
Yep.
I remember that.
Governor appointed ad hoc committee.
That's right. That's right.
Where we first met.
That's right. Those are great. And you know what? That's and then we keep seeing each other at IAEI meetings, all that good stuff. So it's a great opportunity, and I would highly suggest anybody who's not an IAEI member, register, get your IAEI membership, and then sign up for this Western section meeting as an IAEI member, get the discount, take that extra money for your membership. So awesome. Gentlemen, any last words?
Looking forward to it.
Amen. Amen. We're looking forward to next week. So it's next week, and we're on
Wednesday
afternoon, 2:00 Eastern to 4:00. So David and Dean will be doing together, then Tim, and then myself, and it should be a great program. So hopefully everybody can be there. All right. Well, gentlemen, I'm going to stop streaming. So for all of you out there in YouTube land, Facebook land, and LinkedIn land, thank you for joining in. We're going to stop this live stream and look forward to seeing everybody online next week. So thanks a lot. Stay tuned, guys. So I'm going to go offline.